We've got nothing to lose. And so when we shift, when we change, and I talk about this all the time with the women that I work with, it is absolutely imperative, not just a good idea, but imperative to make sure that you put time and energy and love and focus for you, by you, because of you. When we don't, we are teaching that you have to give until you're empty, and then you still got to give, and and you still have to give, and then you break. Nobody wins. What are we teaching our society? We're keeping the ball in the air. We're not here to do that anymore. We already know it drops. We already know the plates break when we try to spin all of them. So stop. Take time for you, by you, because of you, because everybody benefits when we benefit.
When we change our own genetic makeup, our DNA, we reprogram ourselves from the cellular level. We affect our ancestors, but that doesn't just mean our past. It also means our future. And it's so powerful because change does take time, and that's okay, because that's what we've got. We've got plenty of it. We are eternal souls, and so we have the opportunity to be part of this movement that actually creates lasting, beneficial, uplifting change. Welcome to Heart's Home, the space where we gather for conscious conversations that bridge the human and the divine and remind us of the truth of who we are. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel, and I'm so excited to share today's conscious conversation with you. Today's episode feels extra special because I'm joined by someone I was divinely connected to about a year ago, Denise Drinkwalter, Oracle of Sovereignty, Midlife Mirror, and mentor. Denise first came into my world when I posted my offering of PSYCH-K sessions in an online group. With no expectation, she signed up and showed up with an open mind and heart, and the journey that unfolded blew her away. She experienced the joy and ease of transformation. She took aligned action, and she saw immediate results. From there, she became one of my greatest cheerleaders, offering the most beautiful testimonial and sharing my work with others. Since then, Denise and I have continued to stay connected, and I've had the honor of being a guest on her podcast, where I shared my own story and teachings on how our beliefs create our reality. I'll link that episode in the show notes below so that you can check it out after this awesome episode. And now that I'm back in Ontario, it feels so nourishing to reconnect with my soul family. People like Denise who are walking this path of upliftment, sovereignty, and remembrance. Though we serve different age groups and bring different tools to the table, our message is the same. You are the conscious co-creator of your life. And today's conversation will dive deep into what it means to live from your sovereign spirituality, a state of inner independence, authentic expression, and self-realization. This is one you won't want to miss. So, grab your favorite beverage, get comfy, and welcome to Heart's Home. I am so honored to welcome today's guest, Denise Drinkwalter, mentor, podcaster, heart whisperer, midlife mirror, and oracle of sovereignty. After 31 years as an educator and school principal, Denise retired in 2018, but her work was far from over. She shifted her purpose towards mentoring women in midlife, guiding them to rediscover the true selves often hidden beneath years of responsibility, expectations, and the quiet belief of, is this all there is? Through her one-to-one mentoring and the Me Academy, Denise helps women uncover what has always been within: their sovereignty, their joy, and their fire. Fix or coach in the traditional sense, but instead reflects back the wisdom, clarity, and power already alive inside each woman she works with. She is also the host of the podcast Thrive After 45, where she shares conversations and insights that inspire women to rise, reclaim their voices, and embrace midlife as a time of awakening. Denise knows midlife is not the beginning of the end, but the end of forgetting who you are. When she speaks, rooms shift. When she mentors, women rise. And when women rise together, possibilities are redefined. It is such a joy to have you here, Denise. Welcome to Heart's Home.
Oh, it's so great to be here with you today, Lizzie. I can't believe it was a year ago we met. Time flies. I love that. It's crazy. And how we met was incredible. It just was incredible. And the work that we did when we did meet, because I think I asked, could I try your PSYCH-K? It sounds so cool. And it was incredible. Things shifted immediately in my body, in my heart, my soul. So thank you for that gift. It was just incredible.
Thank you for sharing that. And also thank you for being a willing participant because, as I always say, when we do the work with ourselves, it doesn't just affect ourselves, it affects the collective. And that is the greatest gift we give.
Love it.
So good. It's so beautiful to be on a call with you, to have you on my podcast, and to be in the same province. So
amazing.
that's so fun.
I love it.
I would love to start off our episode today by playing the beginning part of the game that we play on each Conscious Conversation episode. We have this game called the Cosmic Baton, and it's this gorgeous game that I created because during a visualization, I had this imagery of people handing off the baton in a relay race. And it wasn't just any old baton. It was this idea of the wisdom and the knowledge that I had gained over the years, passing it on to the next person. And I wanted to connect each guest episode in a unique and playful way. So I came up with this game. And at the end of each episode, the previous guest infuses the cosmic baton with a piece of wisdom, perhaps a quote or some kind of energy that they want to share and pass on to the next person. And then that person receives it and can either share their reflections or not, up to you. And as always and in all ways, the thread of gold that divinely connects us all shows up in the most miraculous way as we weave this pattern of life together. So, the last guest infused the cosmic baton with the quote, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing." And so, I pass you the baton.
Received. Yeah.
The imaginary baton. And if it resonates with you to share, you're welcome to. If not, that's okay
You're
too.
gonna really get this, but my right side went into tingling as you shared that baton passing and messaging. And the reason that it tingled is because it hit a part of my soul that needed to not only hear it, but I don't know if you saw my smile was from ear to ear because I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Absolutely love what your last guest shared simply because that's the work and the joy and the passion that I carry with me every day to live in the moment and make choices constantly and consistently, stepping into and making choices in the past. And I'm not even going to say that long ago because at 61, I have a number of years from the back end that I would say probably 10 years ago, I didn't stay in the present moment as much as I do nowadays. And what a gift. What a gift to be able to know that the capacity to do that is a choice I get to make every day. So the idea of being daring, that means a zillion things to me. If I think in the past daring for me would look like this, I think tiny actions can be very daring, right? Even just your thinking. You can be very daring in your thinking and move the needle for yourself. So, yeah, thank you I love how that came to you and how you're sharing it. What a beautiful, beautiful way to connect all the conversations. Amazing.
And thank you for proving that it works every single time, that it's the exact message. I love how this works. I love how that divine thread really is woven through life. And if you would only be so choosy as to look for it and to see the magic, it's always there. And I know that we've talked about this before, that we both believe in the magic and the miracles of even the mundane life. It's exactly what it needs to be, and it shows us and reveals to us time and time again how blessed and really powerful we are.
Being able to slow life down is a major piece of this being witnessing, because our world is like go, 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 go. And because we're caught up in it, and that's what we think we need to be doing. But honestly, what a gift we get to provide childcare for our grandchildren when they're not in school. What a gift, because children see the world very differently than we do, and I get to reconnect with my childhood self just through observation and just walking down the street crunching the leaves. Yay! Like seriously. And the smell, and just walking down the street. 6 years ago, 8 years, no, probably not 6, probably 10 years ago, I wouldn't do that. I don't have time to go for a walk and pay attention to the leaves. What? I have a list.
Even in you saying what you just said, I'm a crier. I cry about everything. Good things, not good things. I cry. And wearing makeup is not my thing because I cry. But today, this is so resonant because even just this morning, right now, I have the beautiful spaciousness in my life to literally chill for a bit, to simply enjoy life, to take my time, I call it regroup and recalibrate, because shifting from an entire busy life of teaching and constantly being needed in all the ways all the time to having my own agency to do what I desire when I desire. I was sharing about this on my story this morning, and I almost didn't post it because there's those shadows that linger about like, well, what are you doing with your life? And like, oh my God, she must be so lucky. And does she even bleh? Like all these stories that like I come up with sometimes when I'm about to share. And somebody commented on my post because I said, I'm so blessed that I have a family who literally doesn't pressure me and say, what are you doing? Get going. Why aren't you this? Why aren't you? They're just like, yeah, do what you need. We trust you. We know you're going to figure it out and do the things in your own timing, because I always do. But she said to me, I needed to hear that message. And she sent me like a lot of messages saying I needed to hear that, because right now I don't want to keep pushing through. I don't want to keep doing all this stuff, but my family's putting so much pressure on me. And I needed to hear that message that I can rest, that I can recalibrate, that I can take time to rediscover what it is I actually want to do. And I said, oh yes, Queen, and please take that time. So what you said there about timing and enjoying the present moment, I would just love for you to share a little bit about that and how you got to this place now, because I know from knowing you a little bit that it wasn't always this way. So could you share a little bit about whether you call it your spiritual awakening journey or your shift in process, whatever you want to call it? I would love for you to share that.
What in the world is going on? Like, what was that? It was too hard to ignore. And it was back in 2019. And I was driving home from an event in Toronto, which Had a great time. It was amazing. Lots of learning, all the good stuff that I love doing, being with people. And I'm driving home and I see 1310 on a big transport truck. Like, transport trucks are all over the big highway. There's lots of them. Why this number popped out? Because that was the phone number of my dad's workplace. He owned his own menswear for 52 years. Such a beautiful soul, always giving, always supporting, always there for everybody in the town, anybody who came in. 1310. It's like, well, that was weird, but just keep driving home. Continue to drive, and outside a city before I get into my town, and I'm driving in an apartment building, which I see all the time. Guess what pops out? Yeah, 1310 at the top of the building. Boom. I'm like, okay, I get chills. I'm getting chills now. It's like, okay, what's going on? So that was on the Sunday. And then on the Tuesday, I was taking my dad and picking my mom and dad up to go to an appointment in London for a cancer clinic. First appointment. I looked at him and I went, he's failed in 5 days. I couldn't believe how much he had failed in the 5 days because I went to visit him on the Thursday before this Tuesday appointment. Took him into his appointment. I'm getting chills through my body as I'm speaking right now, just sharing that because he's speaking to me. Yeah. Took him to the appointment. I took them home and I said, Mom, this isn't okay. I'm not sure what's going on. I wonder if we should go to the hospital again. Like, they didn't keep him in the appointment. Yeah, you're fine. You'll go home and we'll call you later kind of thing. It was horrible. And long story short, he went to the hospital the next morning and died on the Thursday of that same week. He didn't make it. He shouldn't have made it. It was too hard. But that was there is something way bigger than me. And I never believed it. And now I can't say anything other than this is reality. I am connected. My birth date is 11/11/63. And as a numerologist, I know that I am here to provide reflection and mirroring. And I have the ability to shift people when in my presence. I feel things, I see things, all of it. So I've known that since I was 8, when I first had an experience with a little girl on the playground. I can still remember her. I still remember the wall she was hiding at. This is new for me, but not because it's really been in me, but it was that number. And you can see behind me a big 13. I've got a picture behind me that's got 13 in it, and I had somebody who's connected as well. I just said, I want you to do this special painting that she does, and with crayon and melting and all this stuff. And she said, I got so many messages doing this picture. And Dad was speaking to her to make the artwork that's behind me and never leaves my side or my back. He's always got my backs. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful story, and may your dad rest in peace and enjoy watching you expand into all that you are.
All the
wow, that's so
100%.
Cool. And I love that you have that
here
artwork
every day.
And he's watching your back.
Every day
That's so cool.
I feel him every day. Yeah.
That's so powerful. And I love that you know that that connection is still present even though he is not in this realm with you. And that's so powerful. And also it's really lovely to hear that peace that you speak through because, you know, death can be a challenging thing for many people. And not to say that it isn't challenging, but when we have that peace and understanding that there is more beyond this realm,
it's
makes
very
it
interesting
so much
because
nicer, I think.
I've had 3 very close people pass. My in-laws, both in-law, mom and dad. And with each one and with my father, there was a moment in time where they connected with me visually and I could feel they were letting me know that they were not ready, but I was able to give them the peace they needed to be able to go. Without me even saying anything, that's that gift that I have of the being present and not being shaken. It's just who I am, and I provide a safe space just by being me, and they all felt it. And what a gift to be able to have. Like, whoa, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The more I talk to you, the more I go, of course we're connected in all these ways. And I love it every single time because I learn something new and I go, that makes sense. Oh, it's so fun. As I was preparing for this podcast, I was thinking like, I'm so grateful to like know you because I really see you as such a beautiful role model. And like, I love to see people as different versions of ourselves. Everybody's a reflection. And it's like, you're this on the path ahead of me lady doing her thing, but also being like, this is how good it gets. Keep coming. You got this. And I love that. So thank you for being that human in my life.
I totally believe and have always believed that people who cross my path, there's always a reason and a purpose. And it's not for me to decide who and when. It's just for me to be available and trust that inner voice, that inner pull, that inner, I get a solar plexus hit, and I know that's all I need. Yeah. Yep.
That's perfect. Okay. So then I want to know also about the shift of how and when did you begin walking this path of being a soulpreneur? So you said that in 2018 you retired from teaching. And when was it that you stepped into this soul-led, heart-led entrepreneurial
I would say a couple
journey?
months after retirement, people started reaching out saying, Denise, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? And I'm like, sure. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this could be something that I could do. I could learn more about how do I support adults. I knew how to do children. I knew how to do in my roles. But it's very interesting because what continues to grow and change as I continue to grow and change is more around how, not the who. It's always been me. It's always been me. I'm just letting me come out more and more, which I love because I feel more in full alignment as to who I am. And I'm no longer, oh, well, you have to do this and you have to do it this way. And this is important and that's important. And so when I first started the business, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was taking all the courses and jumping in all the groups and doing all the stuff. And now I'm like, I'm just going to do me. I'm good. I'm just going to do me. Lizzie, it said, let's have a cup. Can you come on I'm in. When can we do it? Like, I'm not going to worry about this, that, and the other thing. I'm just doing me, and whatever needs to unfold will unfold. So I have always been a supporter of others. It's always who I have been. It's not because you're a mom. Like I say, when I was 8, that's who I was. I saw people who were not living a happy life. I still see people who are not living to fulfillment, but it's their choice as to whether or not they want to move closer to make changes for themselves. It's sitting inside of all of us. Where's the lock for that? Where's the key for that lock to unleash your gifts and talents and passions? So yeah, I think I'm just an extension of what I used to do because I love to do it through the mode of teaching and the mode of conversation. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's so beautiful and so powerful. Because I think, like what you mentioned, that you're just going to do you and you can take all the courses and you can be in all the groups. And those are options. And yes, there are ways to do that. And when you just tune into who you be and go from that unique essence, that's really what people desire. They desire connection. They desire the opportunity to chat. They desire the opportunity to have somebody actually listen to them and be personable. So I'm curious also, like, how is it that people come to you? Because you said, of course, they're only going to come when they're ready. And how is it that people
It's a great
find you
question
and are
because I
drawn to
still,
you?
I know the world today, it is a social media frenzy, and I am shifting the way I am using and connecting with the social media. And to be quite honest, doing the podcasting that I do, I just love it. I just finished recording an episode just before we came on here, and that gentleman has been on over 800 podcasts. And he said, oh, yeah, he said, you have a gift
Wow.
to pull out things and touch our conversation in ways that is very unique. Like, I'm just being me. I do podcasting because it's me. I love pulling out what people are deep down, what it is that they are doing, what are they are feeling, what are they seeing. That's my gift. So doing it through a podcast is so smart for me because I get to meet so many beautiful people. And so using that as a forum shows people how I connect through conversation and how I listen and how I reflect back what I hear. And I hear that all the time. People say that to me all the time. Oh my gosh, you pull that together in ways that I've never thought of before. You planted a seed that I've never thought of before. I got to go think. Thank you. Those are the types of comments I get. Well, I'm just being me, right? So I do use social media, but I'm definitely using my podcasting to show people who I am in that realm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for pointing out that shift and for highlighting that there are infinite ways to do whatever it is you're doing, and knowing your own way, knowing your own truth is the most powerful way. And I think that we have seen quite the shift on social media. I mean, even in the last year alone, I got that judgy face on, and I'm okay with that because I was very excited when I started the work that I was doing a few years ago. And there were so many things along the way that it's like, you should do this, you should not do that, you must do this. And it was just, there were so many constraints. And then it got really, really markety. And not that that's a problem, because people totally need to know your message. They need to know what you're about. Yet there became this disconnect in connectivity. And that to me was the weirdest thing, because I'm like, we have social media to be social, yet there's no social happening now. And what is going on? And so thank you for pointing that out and highlighting it. And can we talk about that for a minute, and how you stay connected and tune out the noise? Because I've noticed that for me, there was just so much noise that I was like, I don't want to be,
Yeah.
I can't right now.
So
I
here's
need to
how
just
I've
tune
been
in and tune that out.
moving myself along the path of expansion for me, because that's what's key in order for any of what I do to resonate. So those who might be following me might say, yeah, I've been noticing a little bit of different vibe coming. Thank you. If you haven't, no problem. I have work to do. But what I'm trying to do is, instead of coming from here and thinking, what do people need to hear? That's not my business. What my business is, what's coming from my heart and my soul. So I'm not coming from my mind to try and guess what other people need. That's not my problem. My role in social media is to share what my truth is, what's coming through for me. And so I have been trying to play more with not so much being like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like the whole spiel that way. I'm done with that. Like, I'm just like, you know what? Do my podcast very systematically. It's a different component. But when I'm using my own personal, like my Denise Drinkwalter, IGM, LinkedIn, that's me. I'm speaking me. And what a opportunity to grow into myself. I love that. And I do find that I'm shifting, but I know I'm not there, and that's okay. I'm learning, and that is my mantra If I'm not learning, it's my last breath, because that's what I believe. I always have believed that. I can learn so much every single day, and I choose to. Yeah, so that's how it's coming for me.
That's great. That learning piece. And not everybody loves to learn, but those who do love to learn, this is such a vibe to and a way to live. If you're learning, you're living, and you can keep going. Because I've been
Nice.
writing a lot recently about the power of being and becoming and that divine dance with the universe, because, of course, we are human beings, not human doings, yet there's always that balance between, okay, you are being in your essence, and now what are you going to do with that? How are you going to use that to evolve, to forward motion? And that idea that we never stop learning, even if you're not like big into truly absorbing knowledge and doing something with it. But if we continuously think that we know everything and we've reached the pinnacle, we don't leave room for that growth and that expansion. And it also ends up becoming a limitation that we place upon ourselves because it closes us off to the infinite. And so I love how you're saying that this is the alignment, that it comes from your heart, not your head. And that's truly being a visionary.
You're
So thank
talking
you
about
for
knowledge,
sharing that
and
and
in
being
the
that.
past, knowledge to me was former educator, book, right? Academia, taking courses, going to virtual events, whatever, live events, whatever. That was learning for me. I have really shifted and expanded my definition of learning. And it's interesting because this is what's bringing me right back to when I was younger. I did a lot of exploration as a kid. I always had to be in to figure things out, right? And if it was too much, then I would go and get help for it. But I was a doer. I still am a doer, but I'm also built a skill set of observation, very deep observation. And so I continue to gain knowledge by through the lens of observation and interaction. So I have expanded this idea of knowledge to be way more than go to class for 2 hours and then implement, right? That's a piece, but that used to be all of me. Now I'm like totally adding to that pot of learning opportunity. And like I said the other day, not the other day, earlier in our conversation, walking down the street, what am I pulling in? What am I learning about that I've never taken time to do so before? Even in this block that I live in and have lived in for 33 years. Thank you very much. They're still learning. So, yeah, for me, knowledge is vast, and it's even knowledge about myself and who am I and all those pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, that is such an important piece. And it's so
Yeah.
interesting because, I'm a previous educator now too, and I think it's really interesting how there are, I believe, lots of teachers who are either still teaching or kind of coming to a close with their teaching who are also feeling this shift. And it's no longer just about book knowledge and application on a test or through a practical, whatever it may be, but realizing that there might be some gaps in the appreciation process of what is learning and how does it look like and what can it be like. And there are different kinds of learners and there are different kinds of systems, and they're not necessarily given the same respect, the same clout, the same whatever it may be. And I've seen this as one of the biggest challenges in education because we have a system that is very great for lots of people. And then it's really not great for lots of others. And so looking at the systems that we have in place and the structures that are not yet there, I was wondering if you have any insight into like what might make a subtle but powerful shift in the way things currently are, and you've spent lots of time as a principal, so you probably have more insight into this. Is there anything that you've seen or noticed, maybe in your time being in education or since then, that you would point out and highlight for anybody who is an educator, who's listening, who is challenged with these pieces or would like to bring this into the work they're doing
I have
outside of school
always,
that you would share with us?
always been a huge proponent of student voice, no matter what age. And kids know who they are and what they need. And we need to allow time and space for that to be not only given, but also received equally. Yeah. Student voice is huge to me. And it's not like once a week have a school, student council meeting. No, 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 no. I mean, every child has a voice and they need to be in partnership with their everything, like learning, partnership with receiving, partnership with giving, same with teachers. There's so much opportunity that is wasted because we still have the concept of the teacher being the knowledge holder. And today's day and age, my gosh, really? We've got so much we can be doing differently. And I can't even begin to imagine how powerful education can become when we take down those walls of here's the grading system, here's how it has to look, here's, we have to do this and we have to do this. Why? What's that actually leading to? What do we know about our world today? When were those pieces built, right? Like, let's take a look at the landscape of education historically and take a look at how much has moved and how much hasn't. And when we get students, because they have so much on their plates, but they also have so much to be able to give if they are given the opportunity to do so. And I'm talking JCase. They know about themselves. They know where their limits are. They'll tell you. They're like, I don't get this. I don't want to get this. Are we done yet, Mrs. D? Like, are we done? Like, I'm done. Like, come on.
Yes. Little kids are really truly the best teachers because they don't have that filtration system on, and they haven't adhered to shh and sit down and just follow rules. And so, yeah, that's such an important piece. And I know that Rome wasn't built in a day, nor was the education system, and it is going to be a beautiful change that we see in the future as things start to adjust to the life that we are living and the humans
and
we
I
are
think,
becoming. And
with
so
the stressors
I'm
that
excited for
exist
that.
today, I think we need to really, really be mindful and cautious and very diligent in our observations and be present with kids and allow them and show them ways to be present and ways to share. Okay. So much work, but so important. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that also, the best part is that, like, sometimes you can't necessarily change the system while you're in it. However, when you get to work with the adults who are also influencing kids, so like moms, grandparents, teacher, whoever they may be, anybody who has impact and influence with children, this is now the work that we get to do and we get to share because there is more influence than just in school or in whatever system that they may be in. Thank you for doing the shift and being part of the work that you're doing now, because of course that's impacting many lives, generations, lineages, change. When we change our own genetic makeup, our DNA, we reprogram ourselves from the cellular level. We affect our ancestors, but that doesn't just mean our past. It also means our future. And it's so powerful because change does take time, and that's okay because that's what we've got. We've got plenty of it. We are eternal souls. And so we have the opportunity to be part of this movement that actually creates lasting, beneficial, uplifting change.
Why not? We've got nothing to lose, right? And so when we shift, when we change, and I talk about this all the time with the women that I work with, it is absolutely imperative, not just a good idea, but imperative to make sure that you put time and energy and love and focus for you, by you, because of you. When we don't, we are teaching something that we don't want to be responsible for, that you have to give until you're empty, and then you still got to give. And oh, well, and you still have to give, and then you break. Nobody wins. And what are we teaching our society? We're keeping the ball in the air. We're not here to do that anymore. We already know it drops. We already know the plates break when we try to spin all of them. So stop. Take time for you, by you, because of you, because everybody benefits when we benefit. And that's such a hard lesson, but I tell you, when the women that I support and we do this work, they're like, I have had anxiety that has stopped me in my tracks for years. Thank you for helping me see how this is not really my truth. It's like, I just stood beside you as we worked through questioning what was coming up for you, and you saw what you need to see. I don't know your story. You know it. I just help you reflect it, right? Yeah.
And when you say that we've got nothing to lose, how do you navigate when somebody feels like they have so much to lose that they can't even start this process because they're clinging on to these identities, these stories, these feelings? I would love to know,
Totally.
like, how do you encounter that?
Tiny
And if so,
steps.
how do you move through that?
You mentioned it earlier, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're right. You're absolutely right. But what we do is get clarity on what is that fear really, and show me the evidence that that is truth. And it's very hard for people to come up with, well, I think. Okay, that is a thought. That's not real hard evidence. If you were, looking for, the escapee, what's the evidence that that escapee is right there? Well, I think I heard. You'll follow that lead, but you will absolutely realize there's no black and white evidence that that's true. And very quickly, we start to uncover, oh my gosh, this is the story I've been telling myself, because this is what blah, 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 whatever it is. I haven't tried it. The fear in the back of my brainstem is holding me accountable, trying to keep me safe, but it can't delineate what's real and what isn't. So I've just told this story to myself over so many years that it's my belief now. We can change belief systems, especially when they're not rooted in truth. So we uncover what's really true. And then we just very slowly make a shift. And it can be one thing, it could be one idea, it could be one half a minute of just sitting in silence and realizing nobody around me is impacted by that except for me in a positive way. Ta-da! Let's try it again. Ta-da! Let's try it again. Ooh, I'm kind of liking this, right? Just as an example.
Thank you for sharing that, because I am sure that is going to encourage some people who've had those thoughts and questions about how could I even think that
it's
way?
interesting. I interviewed a
stories
gentleman
aren't true.
named Tim Tamashiro, and he shared that thinking that way is our default. It's how we're wired. It's not our fault that we think, oh, I can't do that, or this is my truth, until we start to uncover and realize it's just trying to keep me safe, right? That has a purpose, but we're no longer cave women. We're no longer running from lions. But our bodies are still of that same makeup, that same put together the same way. We haven't changed that way. So we're just catching up to, oh, that's our default. So I'm normal. Yes.
Absolutely. And even with all the modern threats in our reality, of course, it makes sense that we keep getting into these activated states where we feel like we're being chased by a lion, yet it's because of the modern go, go, go hustle culture that keeps us in that fight or flight response or in the freeze and fawn, that shutdown where we can't even move. And so I know when you're speaking, I can hear that you definitely have that scientific understanding and background to help people understand how the brain actually works and how we are beautiful by design. It is brilliant how our bodies and our brains are intended to keep us safe. Yet we now have the more powerful cognitive process to come online and not override, but to say, wait a minute, great, that's an adaptation. Yet we get to evolve beyond these limiting adaptations, and we get to use our reasoning now to say, is this, like you said, true? Is this actually part of what I need in order to thrive, not just survive? Because survival, that is still a game for many people. Many people are still really stuck in survival. And when you're in survival, it can feel like that is the only way. And so it's really important to learn those tools and learn the basis of what's going on in the body and the brain so that you can move beyond simply surviving and into thriving.
People don't even necessarily, I know when I think about my past, it was almost like a cape of honor to be able to do the volunteer work, be the mom, do the courses, take the masters when everybody is running around and has to go everywhere and we have to make sure everybody's in the right spots. I get up at 3 a.m. to get work done in order to make it to work in time to do all the stuff. And it was kind of like I had to wear it as a badge of honor. I had to flip the script to make it. I can do more than survive. I'm thriving. So the story I told myself was, oh, I'm doing more than surviving. I'm thriving because I got everything going on and I'm still okay. Meanwhile, was I really okay? But I didn't slow down long enough in the mirror to go, sister, come on now. Really? Yeah, it's so important. Like we talked near the beginning, like being present and like you're doing. I'm pausing. I'm being in the moment. Oh my gosh, Lizzie, if I could have done that way back when, I'm so happy for what's possible for younger generations these days because this information is going out and it's being heard and it's being actioned. Yay.
And that's the great part about social media by far and our connectivity, because we all have access to this information and knowledge, like literally at our fingertips. Whereas before you did have to go through more strenuous masters and different degrees in order to kind of even begin to grasp it. Now it's so available to us. So
barometer of, you know what's good for me and why is that good for me right now? Why is this important right now? And being okay with taking the time to ask yourself those questions. Yeah.
I love that. So could you say in a few words or a few sentences, what is your current mission and your current vision? And how are you bridging the 3D, as I refer to the lower densities, the lower chakras, that survival mode with the 5D, which is that being in harmony and in oneness and that thriving mode? Could you share a little bit about that?
My goodness. Okay, so for me, it's important and imperative to get out of my mind and into, as I referred to earlier, my solar plexus is where I get my hits. So really tuning into myself and taking time to do that, not separating myself from 3D, but being attuned to 5D has been really hugely beneficial because what happens is that happens when I get, like I said earlier, I got those tingles, like things are happening. And then I bring it into my 3D. So it marries the two, which I love, right? Absolutely love. So that's how I do. And I'm working with both components. I don't find you can be one without the other because we are humans in the wider universe. So we can't separate ourselves. But what a gift to be able to experience the 5D and so fun. So it's just amazing to be a part of that. And we all are. It's just putting down our guard and being open to receive. And that's a journey we all get to take when we choose and how we choose. Yeah, that's what I
I
find
love
for
that.
that.
Yeah, it really is that embodiment piece, right? Because if we're not grounding these amazing revelations and these amazing experiences that we're having when we're open and we're heart-centered, if we're not bringing that down into the human experience, we're really not bridging the gap. We're really not being fully here, fully embodied, fully present. So the way that you spoke to that is exactly the work. And as I always say, it doesn't have to be hard work, but it gets to be the heart work. And
Yeah.
that's really what it's about, that attunement. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for it. And thank you for
Totally.
what you're doing. Oh, I just wish that everybody has the chance to connect with somebody who's on their frequency. And it doesn't have to be you, it doesn't have to be me, but just somebody somewhere that they vibe with and they can understand this connection and understand it. So,
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of work, hasn't there, on gratitude and joy and those higher frequencies to help us move into the higher levels of frequency. What happens that is very discerning and challenging to me is the likes of, and I'm going to just say news, for example. Like I've literally, and my husband have literally chosen, we really don't want to watch news because it pulls us into those lower frequencies. And quite frankly, been there, done that. And I know that's not my joy. That's not where I want to live. That's not me. And so I'm making those choices, like we talked earlier, that's something I know is not resonant for me and where I am in my journey now. So, yeah, just as an example.
And I love that you said how you've made the conscious choice to tune out of that, because I think there's many people who go, well, you have to stay informed. You have to know what's going on in the world. And I say, do I? I mean, there's an awareness, yes. I'm not completely blind or
Yeah.
deaf to what's happening, but do I have to consistently feed the fear and consistently anchor into these mistruths that are spread through media for a very specific purpose, and it's
Yeah.
not to just inform you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's the discernment.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So thank you. And a reminder to anybody watching, you get to choose literally how you spend your time, what you take into your body, what you consume, whether it be through food, through your eyeballs, through your ears, through your physical presence in places. It is a choice. And it's not, oh, that's such a privileged thing to say. It truly is a choice. You have agency over your own life. And even when you think that you don't have a choice, you're making a choice to be powerless to your situation. And so even that is a choice in and of itself. And it's okay to be a little bit put off by that and to have a little bit of indignance, because I remember when I was back in survival mode and deep in victim mindset, I didn't think I had a choice. Like, how dare they say that? However, when you're able to really just take a step back and look at it as the objective opportunity on either side, you can then make a choice and
Yeah.
become empowered again.
Yeah. It's I love what you're talking about, and back in the day, and I used to tell my kids this all the time when they were like, I don't know what I should do, and I like, let's make it simple. Let's do a T chart, literally, a line down the middle and a line at the top, put a positive and a negative sign. And then do the brain splat. Think about all the positives about that situation and think about all the negatives and be very honest when you write those down. Just start simple, right? Yeah.
And then feel into it. Because again, we can think all day, but what feels better? And this is the part that I'm always encouraging everybody to actually pay attention to, because your emotions are a guidance system. And if it feels good, guess what? It's probably great for you. If it feels bad, stop it. Knock it off. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. If there's an ickiness. And the other piece is some people have a hard time, I can't just stop. then substitute. You can take a substitution that feels better. It might not be a resolution at that point in time, but what is a substitution that will feel better? And just bump
Yeah.
it by one, right?
Exactly. And there's another piece to that. Also, notice, do you even want to substitute? Because there are people that I've encountered actually often who they really, if they're honest with themselves, they don't want to substitute yet. And they're still on the path of like, it's not painful enough to change. It's not difficult enough to need to shift. And that's also okay. There's really no shame or blame in that. It's just a matter of being so honest with yourself and loving and accepting yourself where you're at in that moment. Because putting more shame on yourself, thinking that you're worse off for being this way or any of that, that doesn't help. That just heaps on more junk and it doesn't allow you the opportunity to grow and change.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Honest self-reflection, right? And it can
Absolutely.
be challenging to be honest with the self.
Well, it's a journey. It's a journey, right?
Yeah.
And it's very similar to what we were talking about before, where do the litmus test. Is that really true? Right? Yeah.
There's not too many universal truths. There's a handful of them. And so once we can get really clear on that, that also helps us to know more of what is real versus not real.
Yeah.
And that's great. I wanted to ask you, and I know that you've shared your story so far. I'm so curious, how do you personally define success now? And how has that definition evolved as you've grown?
My goodness. Okay. Success now. Success to me can be a single thought that I have released that was not true. That can change everything. So to me, something like that can be success. I see in my past, success was what people saw on the outside. Was I measuring up to what was success? When I really felt success, particularly in my job prior to my coaching and still with my coaching, is when I see other people light up. Doesn't matter if it's a child, doesn't matter if it's an adult, doesn't matter who it is. When they light up, I was telling you I was on a recording before this for my show, and the gentleman leaned in to tell me what a great conversation. That's success. That was huge success for me, right? Nobody's going to see that. That's mine. I shared it. So now people see it. But do you know what I'm saying? Like for me, success used to be the outside. What does the outside think? Now it's about how am I? And it could be something very tiny. You know, I had to go through some testing, not a big deal. It was just I'm having trouble with my breathing and I had to go and do a stress test. And that was kind of tilting me a little. I'm like, oh, what is this going to be about? And then I just have to recenter, right? I had success because I was able to recenter and just keep my calm. Had a wonderful conversation with a lady beside me when we were both waiting to go in. Wonderful conversation. And I'm like, well, that was successful because I could have been a nervous wreck, you know? And they met with it and I did it and everything's good. And if it wasn't, I'd be like, well, what do I need to do next? Where before I'd be like, I have to pass this test. This is the biggest test I have to pass, right? It's like, whatever. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you've captured that well, that it is an internal marker and it is about your center and knowing your center point. And that's so beautiful that it can be in many different forms, yet still have the same essence there. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then now, what would you say it is for you to live a fulfilling and satisfying life?
My gosh, I get out of bed every single morning. What a gift. I get to move my body. I get to experience life every single day. You can't ask for anything better than that because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Oh my gosh. I am so blessed in so many ways. So many ways. Family, friends, relationships, connections. Like, my gosh. I could go on and on. So fortunate. And I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what the next 10 minutes is going to bring, but I'll tell you, I'll be living in the moment as much as I possibly can because that's the best place to live.
Mm, yes. It reminded me of that little expression that today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. I love that little expression because each and every moment is a gift.
It's so true. And we always get hit with challenges that people we know or family struggling with health or worse. And it immediately brings up, ooh, today's the present, use that gift. But do we? Do we really? You do in the moment, and then you're like, life goes on and you stay busy. But I'm really trying more and more just to be present every single day and feel the feet on the ground and being able to move our bodies and be able to have conversation and just be present with those that we love. What a gift.
Mm.
Trying to do that more and more, and I'm winning. I'm winning.
Yeah, you are. Keep going.
Yeah.
You're doing so good. I was having that conversation, a very similar one with somebody recently, and saying, like, just trying to help them come back to the baseline of, are you free and are you safe? And it started with no. And I was like, okay, well, what about right now? Are you free right now? Like, if you wanted to, could you just get up and leave this conversation? Well, yeah. If you wanted to, could you just take off and blah, blah, blah? Well, yeah, I guess. And so then we went through a bunch of other scenarios and finally got to the point where it was like, okay, so are you free? Well, yeah, I'm free. Okay, great. Now, can we get to the point of, are you safe? Are you safe right now in this moment? Are you safe? Yeah, I'm safe. Has there ever been a moment in your entire life when you truly weren't safe? I mean, like maybe you weren't doing safe things, that's a possibility, but like where you weren't actually safe and they were like, well, I guess I'm here, so I am safe. I've always been safe. And it's when you can come back to those truths of your soul that it's undeniable that like every story that we make is truly just that. It's a story around the circumstance or the situation, but tuning into the
Yeah.
essence of I am here, I am present, I am safe, I am free. What else do you want?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
loved. And are you loved in this moment? Absolutely. Even if it's not by the people you want to love you, do you love you enough to be present right now? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Self-love and self-leadership, I think, are two really key points in what you're sharing too, in terms of not only recognizing it, but celebrating it. Because we don't celebrate enough. We don't celebrate all the good.
And I think especially, I mean, I can only speak from a woman's perspective because I am one, but I think as women, it's been a little bit more challenging to even want to claim that and share it and say it because I know that for me and in a lot of the people that I've worked with, their experience has been you can't brag, you can't share, you don't want to make others feel less than or blah, blah, blah. All these weird stories that come up. And it's like, actually, the vibe now is hype that up. Let's celebrate. Let's exclaim and enjoy the experience.
And because we are quote unquote more knowledgeable or sharing more about the vibrations and the frequencies, when we do, we have the capacity to pull others up. It's not why we do it, but it's a side effect, and what a great side effect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we shine and be all that we can be, we give that permission slip to others to be all of who they are. And I think that's one of the best parts of the journey of life.
1,000%. 1,000%.
So I wanted to just take your final thoughts on some kind of piece of inspiration or message that you would like to leave the audience with that has been maybe one of the greatest pieces of knowingness that you now have and feel like it's important to share with others?
For me, it is you have always had within you absolutely everything you need to love yourself in ways that you have yet to experience. So unlock those gifts because you have the key.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I feel that. Like, really, I feel that one. Thank you for sharing it that way. And I want to give you the opportunity also, before we go into our Cosmic Baton game, to tell us and give yourself a shameless plug. What are you working on? What do you want to share? The non-humble brag. Just let us know, and how the audience can find you and connect with you.
Absolutely. Mentioned at the beginning and throughout that I am in social media. So Instagram and LinkedIn and TikTok and Facebook. Those are the ones I'm sticking to. Denise Drinkwalter. Just me.
And I'll put it
It's
all in the
me.
show notes.
Yeah, I'm me. Me Academy is a soul transformational portal that I am opening up. 6 months and lives change in there. Not only the people who register and sign up to be joining in that sovereign space, but I get changed as well through the connections, through the conversations, through, like I shared before, how people light up and say, whoa, look at me. I'm looking at me now in ways I didn't understand before. So Me Academy is opening up. Actually, we opened our doors officially today. So
Congratulations.
the 30th of September. It's the third time I will have offered this opportunity to be in close contact and monthly connections. So I love it. It changes lives, and it's one of my main reasons for being here. And of course, my podcast, Thrive After 45, we drop weekly, and Lizzie's been on it, and we had great conversation.
Yeah, it's such a good podcast. I listen to it regularly. I love the episodes that you have, and the guests that you have on are just beautiful to listen to.
They're great. I'm so fortunate. Yeah, so blessed to have so many people reaching out to talk to me. I'm booking into July, for heaven's sakes. It's amazing. Yeah, I know.
Another celebration, and congratulations. That's so epic. That's so good. I love watching you thrive. It's so lovely. Okay, and now, my dear, you are holding the cosmic baton, and I would love for you to infuse it with the energy, the intention, the quote, whatever it is that you feel needs to be passed on to the next guest.
Whew. The thing that's coming through right now is don't only know that there's a baton for all of you, but it's not a race. So step in, go into that lane. If you need to change lanes, you won't be disqualified. So grab that baton and you will be and are a part of that golden thread. So light your light, connect, be with yourself, love yourself in ways that you rarely, if ever, have done, because nobody can do it like you.
Thank you. And let's play make-believe. I will lovingly take the baton back from you. I'm such a little kid when it comes to that.
I love it.
Keep it for safekeepings over there.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
That message is beautiful. And yeah, it's not a race. That's why I love the idea of a relay race, even though the word race is in there. It's that continuous evolution and sharing, because you are on your own path. You are in your own lane. There are different lanes that you can jump into at any moment. So yeah, thank you for noting that. That's so important.
Of course. Thank you.
And I'm so grateful that you joined me today here on Heart's Home. And I'm so grateful to be connected to you, with you, and that you are providing such a beautiful space and different spaces for women to be a part of, so that they can truly tap into their own magic and be everything they desire to be. So thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you for crossing paths. Thank universe, for bringing us together and continuing to keep us connected. Thank you.
And as always, to all the viewers listening, from my heart to yours, thank you for joining us, and namaste and peace out.